welcome to the Joy Meets Pain podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Dorcas and Taffy. As a family therapist, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, my family is the worst, or I'm too embarrassed to talk about my family, or no family is like mine. Well, guess what, listeners? All families have ishness, foolishness, happiness, shadiness, loneliness, forgiveness, hopefulness, goodness, and the list goes on. If you come from a family and are trying to navigate your family relationships, then welcome. There are no good families or bad families, only families trying to survive. When I initially started the podcast, I wanted to focus on family, therapy, and food. So the earlier episodes were centered around these three topics. In addition to food, I love tennis, music, dance, and laughter. So some of my guests will discuss these same interests as it relates to their families. Here's an important disclaimer. I am not providing therapy or medical advice. Please consult with your medical and mental health providers. Here's a heads up. Once in a while, I will curse. So if you're looking for a clean, no foul language kind of show, this is not it. Some of the upcoming episodes will address issues such as murder and incest, two very unfortunate but also prevalent occurrences in family life. So please do not tune in if these topics are too much for you to bear. I hope you find this podcast informative, engaging, and fun. Well, welcome, Dr. Nicole.
Hello, Taffy. Welcome to episode 41. Today we are doing a mid-year review, right? I thought it would be a good time for us to check in, process, see topics we've covered, topics we have yet to cover, and, do our personal check-ins as well. All right, how are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good, thank you. Just a busy week, but just trying to stay afloat. How are you doing?
I am well. I am well. We are in June already, but I'm excited. The weather is warm. This is
Yeah.
my favorite season. I need heat, sun, and heat and sun. So
Yeah.
I'm in heaven. Yeah. All right. So we're starting things off a little differently. So since we are at the mid-year mark, we decided why not start by sharing things we're proud of, things we could do better, um, and also, anything that happened that blew our minds in the last week or whenever, right? So we may start every episode this way, we may switch it up and do something different. But yes, I think this is our review of ourselves and the podcast. And so we can start by sharing what we are proud of. So, for me, as of June 2026, the one thing I will say I'm proud of is that I have been putting my energy into the people I love.
Oh,
Because oftentimes, again, I hear sad stories about, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done more, I wish I had said this. And so for me, I just, feel like, okay, this is something I need to be doing consistently. So I do feel good about that now. I could definitely do more checking in with people I care about, but I do feel that those I love, I am pouring into. What about you? What are you proud of?
I am proud of slowly getting back into somewhat of a routine after having been back at home. And yeah, so I've started going back to the gym, which has
Mhm.
been pretty cool. And it's always good, feeling the what do you call it in English? The DOMS, like the muscle, the delayed onset muscle.
Mm,
Yeah. So I think, yeah, it's a sign I'm slowly getting back into things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. One thing I could do better, one thing I could improve is using my five senses to be present. Now, it's a
Yeah.
very simple, effective exercise. And, different people teach it in different ways, but if, pay attention to five things that you see around you, four things you hear, you know, um, three things that you can touch, right? Two things you can taste and one thing you smell, right? It's a really effective way of just, okay, let me be right here, right now,
Mm-hmm.
and so yes, that is something that I wish I did more frequently because again, always thinking about the to-do list, always planning ahead. And sometimes, of course, looking back on, okay, why did this happen and how? But just to be here and now in the present, that is something that I would like to do better. And
Yeah.
you?
One thing I would like to improve on or could improve on would be pretty simple, just hydration.
Yeah,
Like you said, the temperatures are going up.
yeah,
And yeah, hydration is important. Most of us are dehydrated.
yeah, yeah,
And most of us think we drink enough, but we actually don't. And so I
yeah,
think over the past couple of months, I actually downloaded an app where I log in, like, or I log like the amount of water that I am having. So every time I fill up, I have like a 500 milliliter
yeah,
full. And so
yeah,
every time I fill it up, I log it in the hopes that I'm going to drink it. And then every time I fill it up, I log it in. So the goal is to, at the very least, do 2 liters, at least keep it
yeah.
at 2 liters. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, so the app is holding you accountable. Oh my,
Or it.
okay. All right, so blew your mind, blew my mind, anything in the past week that blew my mind? I mean, there's always a lot, I think, watching Roland Garros tennis and seeing the upsets happening there,
Mm,
in the political world, of course, voting rights and the eradication of them.
mm,
This is June is Pride Month, and so also just reading news reports of a bill being passed in Ghana where, there could be criminal penalties for people
mm,
who identify as LGBTQIA, So there's always a lot happening. I think my mind is always blown by so many, so it's hard to pick one. But I think
true.
moving forward, I will try to find one particular thing that I can share in the next episode. And what about you?
Yeah, I think similar to you, I am constantly flabbergasted. Just just looking around, whether it's like you said, if it's the news, if it's the politics, if it's not, I don't know, just someone saying something crazy, the social media
Right, right.
is discourse about something.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think I, like you, am going to have to like hone in and like
yeah,
pick the next time. So for today, I think I'll sit that one out.
yeah,
Otherwise, we here.
yeah. We might be here for a
We might
minute.
be here
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah. Well,
Once you open that
it's,
Pandora box,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we are doing our check-in, our holding ourselves accountable. It is midway through the year, so I think it's a good time to always check in and see, okay, where are we in terms of goals we had set for ourselves? Do we feel like we're living, keeping up with them or not? If we're struggling, then why? So, from January up until this year, we covered diverse topics, from
Yeah.
human trafficking and, you know, uh, all or nothing thinking, which was very recent. We covered humor. We've talked about dating, siblings dating each other's friends, So a wide, wide range of topics. But one thing I always do is I'm always paying attention to themes and patterns, right?
Yeah.
So if we were to summarize all of those topics in terms of themes and patterns, naturally, I think they all have to do with relationships, right? That's a key theme, which not surprising. This is a, joy meets pain in the family podcast. And then
Mm.
also love, I think love trickles in there often, you know, and I think, yeah, just some of the challenges, I guess, that people experience, you know. So those would be the themes. So anything you want to say about the topics we've covered so far? Um,
I think we have, I mean, first of all, I think we've done well. um, Considering the topics we have covered, and we've done well in terms of consistency as well. And yeah, when I think about or look at some of the topics that we've covered, I think we, although they're all mostly falling into, the category of relationships, I think we have been uh, diverse nonetheless.
yes.
And, yeah, and so I
Yeah.
think if if anything, we have managed to hopefully speak to people from different walks of life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to digging a little deeper and yeah, moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah. One theme I forgot to mention was
Mm.
self-awareness. And so
Ooh,
it
yeah.
is always my hope that those
Yeah.
who listen to the show consistently walk away with a way to reflect
To
and
reflect. Yeah.
to, to challenge themselves.
Yeah.
On how I can be a better human, what can I do differently, right? Where am I falling short? So I think that's one key aspect of this podcast is our families do shape, you know, what we do, who we are, what we value, how we think, and so on and so on. But ultimately, how we show up, how we process, the information we receive, how we can and choose decide to interact with people makes all the difference. And so it's never about blaming others, but it's always about, am I more self-aware? All right, so I
Yeah.
am very excited about the many topics to come, and there's so many. I think the
Mhm.
ones we'll touch on today are just a few, right?
Yeah.
But some of the topics that I'm excited to talk about, hoarding, I think, is a mental illness that I would like to cover. This topic of unconditional love. What does that look like? Does it exist? Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the question. Does it exist? And then the many varieties of relationships now that we see from polyamorous to consensual non-monogamy, right, to open relationships. There's such a variety now. So there's never a dull moment for couples these
No.
days. It's like, what rocks your boat,
Yeah.
Let's explore, let's look into that. So that aspect of relationships I'm looking forward to discussing. And of course, deeper issues like resentment and incest,
Mhm.
and all the addictions. Again, there are many, but phone addiction is on the rise. It is troubling.
Yeah.
Porn addiction, gambling addiction, I think all of those I do want us to discuss as well.
Mhm.
So of all those topics, and maybe, any I didn't mention, are
Yeah.
there any that you would be excited for us to cover in the remainder of the year or in future episodes? It doesn't have to be this year.
I think one that sticks out to me is the one on unconditional love.
Hmm.
I think I'm interested to dig deep for myself to see what I think and what I find
Yeah,
pertaining to the topic, and then also, of course, exchanging ideas with you and then hearing what our audience has to say about it,
yeah,
because it is something that's thrown around a lot, especially
yes,
in the area of family.
yes, yes.
Uh, yeah, so, and also, I think one that's not on the list, but I think falls in line with the theme of relationships or romantic relationships would be why we choose the partners that we choose. Yeah.
Well, well, that's a genogram in the making. And if we
Yeah.
were not the hosts, I would gladly do a genogram to answer that question. But I think I can definitely I've done a demonstration before anyway,
Yeah.
but I think
Uh,
that partly explains why we choose the
yeah.
partners we choose. And it's never a coincidence. It is never a coincidence.
Nope. For better or for worse. Um,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
But
absolutely.
one would hope that one goes in the the direction that's more positive, that
Yeah,
sort of cancels out whatever happened, in the
yes.
past. Yeah, there's always a
Oh, yeah,
backstory.
yeah, for sure. And that's where I think the self-awareness comes into play. Because the
Yeah,
more you are working on yourself, the more you start to recognize those
yeah,
patterns, where to make changes.
yeah,
And obviously you look at the intergenerational patterns in your family as well, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, I could share so many fascinating examples that come up when I do genograms. And
yeah.
it's always like, wow, mystery solved. It's like you
Yeah,
wondered why. Well, here we
yeah.
are.
And and as you're saying that, I'm actually thinking like it actually ties into, I think, a good handful of the topics that we
Yes,
have covered.
yes, yes.
It's not always just, yeah, it's not just one thing, it's
No,
many. It
many,
depends
many, many.
what position you are in your
Exactly,
sibling ranking. It depends.
exactly.
It's not
The
just
role you play,
the,
right?
yeah,
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 for
you know,
sure. Yeah,
yeah,
so I think, yeah, one quick example I do want to share. So someone, came to me talking about um, the toll it takes on being someone who is passionate about social justice, wanting to make a change, improving the lives of others. And so this person said to me, when they were younger, their goal in life was to become an attorney so they could help people, you know. And you fast forward 15 years later, and they're now questioning, like, why? I don't want to play this role of constantly fighting, to
Mhm.
help or save or improve the lives of others. And it's like, it's so interesting that now it's becoming an identity crisis of sorts, when at a
Mm-hmm.
very young age you had already defined for yourself that you wanted to be this person, you know, and you've
Mm-hmm.
become this person, and now it's like, wow, this is really hard, you know. But yes, they hadn't made the connection between what they told themselves 15 years earlier and who they became and how it has lined up, but it just feels hard, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, genogram's fascinating. I love that topic. All right, so let's stay on topic. But AI is another topic I'm very much excited to talk about because
Yeah.
honestly, it is mind-blowing what is happening with AI. I mean, it is just fascinating to say the least, you know.
Yeah.
And
A little scary.
yeah, scary, scary is a good word, you know. I think some people have become overly dependent on it. Students, you can always tell, when it's like,
Mhm.
okay, everyone used AI here, So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people are talking to ChatGPT like their best friend and
Yeah.
having long conversations and thoughts and, everything else. So it's really fascinating to see, but that's a topic that I'm excited for us to jump into. Uh,
Yeah. And there's actually, it's crazy because a couple of years ago, it must have been, when was that movie released? 2003, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you've watched it. It's called Her. And it's basically about a guy that makes he comes out of a relationship and then starts talking to an AI before they could name it at the time. And then he starts dating this AI.
yeah,
And so crazy that, this was 2003 and now it's
yeah,
2026. And
yeah. This
that's a
is our world. This
whole
is what we're
thing. And that's
doing.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
so, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the deep fakes, I mean that's a problem that's on the rise because now the scamming is
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, easier to do, and unfortunately, the elderly are victims
Mm,
daily, constantly, with these scams that are happening. All right, so we
yeah.
do have some questions for our audience, for our listeners. So questions you want to ask the first one, we can maybe
Yeah.
quickly give our own responses in 5 minutes. In the next 5 minutes, we want to make it through all the questions. So jump in with the first one.
All right, so the first one, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being poor and 10 being excellent, what rating would you give yourself for your overall progress in 2026? Are you where you hoped to be?
Okay, so I thought about that question. If I were to answer it for myself, I think I feel comfortable saying 5.5,
Okay.
because I still do have a lot of work to do.
Hmm.
And I am crossing fingers, toes, anything that can be crossed, that by the end of this year, I can proudly say, yes, I feel, good with where I am. So mine is 5.5. What would yours be?
I think I would, yeah, I might give myself a 5 as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Trying to be generous because actually, when I think about it, I have covered quite a few
Yeah.
things. I
Yeah.
have off a few things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good,
tempting to
good.
be like, it's not enough,
Yeah.
but it's fine. Like
Okay,
5.
good,
Yeah.
good. So we are headed in the right direction. It might be slow, but we're headed in the right direction. All right, next question is, have you identified the obstacles preventing you from being where you are? Yes, I know mine so well that every day I'm facing them, thinking about them, tackling them. So I definitely have identified mine, and I am working diligently to eradicate them. And you,
Yeah.
do you know yours?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'm also pretty clear and
Yeah.
working towards, yeah, realigning where there needs to be a
Yeah.
real.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You want to ask the next question?
If you're, are you satisfied with your, oh, well, if you're satisfied with your progress, what did you do to make it happen?
Okay, so for me, I think it is this daily assessment that I've put in place. Because before I think it was more, okay, over the weekend I'll take some time to review, but now I'm doing it on a daily basis. Like,
Oh,
okay, where do I need to make adjustments so that next Tuesday this time I'm not repeating the same things, right? So I think that's the one thing that I've done. And again, I am spending a lot more time self-reflecting, my interactions with others. So, that is helping me just to become more aware of when I need a break, when to step away, when not to have a conversation, yeah, and so it's helping to keep me on track. All right.
mm.
What did you do to make it happen? Do you want to answer?
Um, I I think what I always do, I think generally speaking, I'm someone that it might take me a while, but
Yeah,
I think one that's really good at locking in
yeah,
when I finally like fully decide like, okay,
yeah,
I need to get this done or I want a specific result. I
yeah,
think I really good at just locking in and getting it done. And
yeah,
so I
yeah,
think like always when it's called for,
yeah,
I just lock in and I get the thing
yeah.
done.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
All right. Good, good,
And
good.
then
Next question. Are you repeating the same behaviors from the past? And if so, how will you know where to seek help? Or do you know where to seek help, I should say? So I could answer that also. Of course, I am, at this, advanced season stage age of life, there are many behaviors, and it is difficult to, you know, completely eliminate some of them. And also, this is the thing about family systems is that we feed off of each other, all of us family members, right? And so if my behaviors don't change, then how I interact with family members, they're also going to react based on, how I'm showing up and who I am and so on. So yeah, it's such a reciprocal circular, process that it is something that I'm also realizing, okay, I need to tweak some things here and there so that we're not all repeating the same patterns because it's very predictable,
yeah,
So yes, they are repeating, but work in progress, I will say. And you, Taffy?
of course. Without a doubt.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and how will I know where to seek help? I mean, I think the first port of call is always to become aware of
Yeah,
what the thing
yeah,
is or what the pattern is, and then, you know,
yeah,
just either talking it through with someone or, with my
yeah,
therapist,
yeah,
or sometimes it's clear, you kind of react impulsively in the moment, or
yeah,
from a pattern you've had since beginning of time, and then after afterwards you think about it and you're like, huh, I guess maybe I should have or I could have responded this way or reacted this
yeah,
way. And
yeah,
then at that point you have nothing else to do but to
yeah,
try
yeah,
it next time,
right.
and maybe remind yourself, well, for me, there's like reminding myself to pause
Yeah,
before reacting or
yes, yes.
And hopefully that will
Yes.
give you the time
Yeah.
to do something different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Asking ourselves, am I projecting onto others? Right.
Yeah.
All right. And you want to ask the last question?
Question. For these first 6 months of 2026, what's been the highlight for you?
Yeah. I, I think um, probably the biggest one for me has been really opening up and being vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
and working on my most challenging relationships. I
Okay.
think when I look back over the years, I would say in these first 6 months, I've probably put in more work into improving my relationships than I have in the past, you know.
Okay.
And a lot of that just had to do with, you know, yeah, I think being vulnerable is really the way I would describe it because there's a lot of things that I keep to myself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't share. And I think a part of that is because people expect you to present a certain way. And so it's like, oh no, if I say this, or if I talk about this, or if I do this, then it doesn't fit with how I'm supposed to present, But that vulnerability and that openness really created space for growth. So
Yeah.
I think that's been the highlight for me. Yeah, that's the one for me. What about you?
For me, I'm sure you can almost guess, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Was going home. Was going
Yeah.
home, spending 3 weeks with family and
Yeah.
friends, experiencing or reconnecting with Zimbabwean culture and food and being in an environment where everything is slower. Yeah,
Yeah, familiar.
familiar,
Mm.
definitely, and
Looks, yeah,
people that look like
all
you, sound
that.
like you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that's still, so far, that's still the highlight.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
interested to see if anything else will top it.
yeah,
This,
yeah. Well, that's a tough one, that's a
yeah,
tough
it
one, but
is.
yeah. All right. Well, it's been great as always. And listeners, we look forward to hearing your responses to the questions. So you can email us info@joymeetspain.com or post comments in the chat. And we look forward to chatting with you in episode 42. All right, Tuffy, closing comments, thoughts?
Yeah, we will see you guys next time. Take
Um,
care.
all right. I hope this episode added something meaningful to your day or to your life. If you have a family related story, whether joyful or painful, that you would like to share, please send an email to info@joymeetspain.com or on Instagram at joymeetspainpodcast. Thank you for tuning in and for allowing me to spend this part of your day with you. Please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen to the show. And of course, please subscribe and spread the word to your friends, family, or that cousin who always says our family is crazy. Till next time, stay well, stay kind, and stay present.